Where in the heck is Waldo? I have found Waldo. What an awesome mural. Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm in Florida, in the town of Waldo. Thought that was such an awesome name for a town, Waldo. So today's adventure, we will be hitting the back roads of Florida, small towns, non-touristy areas. Just seeing what we can kick over today. Never been in this area before. This is like northern central Florida. Normally when I come to Florida, I stay either on Interstate 95, I-4, somewhere like that. Beaches, theme parks is kind of my go-to, as many people do. But today, I've decided to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to travel down through the middle part of the state, look at the countryside a little bit in some of these small towns. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and begin right here in Waldo, Florida. All right, just real quick, I have to show off this awesome mural. I love this. Welcome to Waldo. Just spoke to a lady. I think I spooked her a little bit. She didn't know I was around the corner filming, and we had a nice little laugh about it. She said that she loves this mural too. And this here says the Waldo Historical Society painted this up, put it in place, and that's real wood. That is pretty awesome. So Waldo was actually established in 1859 and incorporated in 1907, and only about 850 people live here in the town of Waldo, Florida. But I'm going to tell you something right now. You would not know that by this road that goes down through here, Waldo Road. This thing is busy, busy, busy. There is a lot of traffic that comes along this road. And look at the architecture of these old school buildings down through here. Yeah, man, this is pretty rad. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, all these buildings right here in the main downtown drag area here, it seems to be all of them are very vacant. There's nothing really going on here. This is some kind of city hall or something maybe. It says City of Waldo right there on the glass. I got the emergency 911, and it says pretty much the same thing right here on the door, City of Waldo. I don't know, but nothing's really happening. Everything looks very vacant and abandoned. And right here I'm on the corner of 5th Boulevard and Earl Street, and right across the road from Earl Street is this road right here. We have the Waldo Feed and Hardware Store, and it says Seminole Feed right up there above the doorway there, for sale. I wonder if Seminole Feed is what it was before it was Waldo Hardware. But now we're going to venture back down the back road here, take a little peek at the back side of these old abandoned buildings. And this is right here on the corner of Earl Street and Kennard Street. Look at this old brick structure right here. That is pretty awesome looking. Pretty neat. I think I'm going to get more of the same as I walk down the back side of these buildings. Everything looks very abandoned. And this here is where the old City Hall building was, I believe. If this is indeed a city hall, I'm just thinking it was because it says City of Waldo on it. Oh yeah, right here, look. Right there it is, Waldo City Hall hours. Which I'm telling you, I don't think this is much in use anymore. Even this old paper right here, Career Day Job Fair was 2020. And look at the artwork, these tiles right here. It's like a caboose train. And we're going to go look at a train right across the street here momentarily once we finish walking around through here. So maybe that kind of ties into that train right across the way. All right, now I've made my way across the road. Right over here is the Waldo Feed store we just seen, and hardware. Looks like they are still open. They got some flowers and things like that. But a few minutes ago, we seen that neat little tile artistic rendition of a caboose. And right here is the Waldo Historical Railroad Museum, just right across the road here. And they've kind of made this like a stage. I'm actually sitting in standing on some bleachers. So maybe they do some kind of shows or something right here. Let's go take a little bit closer look at the caboose itself. All right, so I walked over here to this like stage area, as you can see, and right over there is the bleachers here in town. And on the side of this old caboose, it says Seaboard Railroad on it. And I was looking at some of the history on these two placards over here, and it was talking about somebody named William Sparkman. The father of Waldo was the first non-indigenous English-speaking settler here in the 1800s, who in the 1920s made it easier for more settlers to reside in Waldo when he built Bellamy Road, which connected St. Augustine to Pensacola. Bellamy Road was the first major U.S. federal highway in the early territorial Florida days and was constructed in the 1820s through the 1830s, passing through Waldo from Lake Santa Fe to the east and on towards Santa Fe River to the west, where it passed over the river on a natural land bridge in modern Alino State Park. So that's a little backstory to Waldo. Pretty cool. All right, so that was a cool little look at Waldo, Florida. Now we're on the back roads. We're headed toward our next stop. And it's a town that posed as Grady, South Carolina in a Michael J. Fox movie many years ago. That is our next stop today. And the town has a lot of cool history other than that. So let's carry on. All right, I have made it to probably one of the most picturesque, beautiful little towns I think I've ever laid my eyes on. This is Micanopy, Florida. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I know I've heard people say it about 4 different ways, but to give you a little backstory to this town, it was actually started in 1821. The town became the first inland U.S. town. So it is the oldest inland U.S. town here in the States. The town was named after Seminole Indian chief Micanopy. And Micanopy in the Seminole language means runaway. So I'm standing right here in front of the Shady Oak Gallery Antique Store and Coffee and Cream coffee shop. And I just happened to look at this tree right here. And look at that power line right there. It's kind of grown in to the limb. I gotta say, this is just so awesome to be here in this little beautiful town, walking these streets, just knowing you're in the oldest inland town in the United States. Look at this artwork. That's some really cool paintings. Wow, check out this building. It looks like it has a story to tell. This old Antiques Plus building right here. Really like this photo, this picture painting right here of this horse. That's beautiful. I love those colors. Horse looks like it has a lot of energy. It's beautiful. And this here was known as the Little Story House from 1920. A little piece down here. It says the Setback Tin building was built in the early 1920s. Cody Hunter kept his electric and radio repair shop there. Later it was used for town meetings. And the house next door was the Micanopy Public Library. The old tin building served as the children's section and was the site of Children's Story Hour and was called the Little Story House. So we did not know, we do now. Okay, so this next building here is actually called the shop. As you can see right here, this is actually the entrance to the shop. This door here is closed, but this is all antique stuff. Pretty cool, but the building right next to it, connected to it, this kind of stands out and looks really old. It says J.R. Mountain up over that doorway there. And then even something a little bit cooler, it says garage up there. And that does look like maybe at one time back in the day, this here was actually a garage door. That is pretty neat. And then even further down here, it says cafe on either side of these doors, this entrance. So maybe it was a garage where they would take care of your vehicle. And then while you're waiting on it to be fixed, oil change, whatever, you could go in there, maybe they'd feed you. Sounds like a really good idea. This gentleman right here looking through the window nearly scared the bejesus out of me. When I looked in and I seen that creature, I said, oh my God, what the heck is that? And then they ain't nothing. Look at this one over here. Oh yeah, that's pretty frightening. All right, so this has really been a treat being here in this little small town. Really beautiful here. But now we're going to do a little film history. If you've ever heard of Michael J. Fox, the actor, that his probably most famous role, I guess, would be, what, Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, definitely. But he played in another film called Doc Hollywood. And Doc Hollywood was filmed right here in Micanopy. This is where all the scenes were filmed here around town or out on the outskirts. And this place right here, this antique shop, which this is an old homestead, this right here posed as the doctor's office in Doc Hollywood. So Michael J. walked right down this brick walkway, and this here was the doctor's office that Michael J. Fox acted out in Doc Hollywood. Happened right here. This was the doctor's office. Pretty cool little piece of history if you're a fan of that movie. So as far as the movie Doc Hollywood goes, I have not seen that movie in probably, I don't know, 25 years or more. I don't really have it burned into my mind like where all the filming locations are here in town, but I don't think it would be hard to figure it out. But this is not a filming location video, but I did just want to throw that out there. I do remember that, and I walked in, I talked to the antique store owner, or the person working behind the counter, and he did verify that that was the location for the Doc Hollywood. Wow, look at this beautiful live oak right here. Look at the moss. Man, this town is so picturesque and beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, this here is called the Herlong Mansion. This is a bread and breakfast here in town. Look at that, circa 1845. Yeah, that is pretty awesome looking. That is beautiful. Bet that is a great place to stay. Love the sidewalk. The big white columns. Looks very much Old South. And right across the street, diagonally across the street from the Herlong Mansion, you have this Episcopal church right here. And with these big live oaks and all the moss that you see draped down off these trees, it is beautiful. This has got to be one of the most picturesque towns I have ever seen. And right here is another antique store. Antiques Tyson Trading Company. And something I got to say about this town that I've noticed so far, it reminds me, mainly the live oaks and the moss, but it reminds me of Southport, North Carolina. It gives you that little vibe, a little piece of home down here in this area. But one thing I like that they got in common with Southport, more than just the moss and the live oaks, but this is an old town, you can tell, but it's very well maintained. There's not a lot of overgrowth. There's not like stuff like greenery growing all over everything. Everything looks kind of well maintained and still has like this charming feel to it. Very clean. Micanopy. This was an awesome stop today, and we're not even done yet. All right, this is the Micanopy Historical Society Museum and Archives. Warehouse number 2, it says. Where's warehouse number 1, I wonder? They're actually open Tuesday through Sunday from 1 to 4. And this is what the grounds look like here. Really cool looking building. I want to show you something. Right around the corner of this building, they really have an awesome Coca-Cola sign painted on the side of this structure. Look at that. I love Coca-Cola signs. I mean, I love any soft drink sign, old ghost signs, things like that, but I like this one a lot. Up there on the top, it says warehouse, maybe number 1, Thrasher Brothers. And then we got this cool Coke sign right here. And a really cool Toyota hybrid to boot. All right, I've made my way over here to the back side of the Mosswood Bakehouse. This house right here was actually built in 1910. So it's got a little bit of history. It's definitely an old one. And they have a lot of baked goods in there. When I was in there, I was drooling. Looked very, very delicious. And I scored me a vanilla latte And I'm going to tell you something. That is fantastic. Very, very good vanilla latte. All right, I made my way around front and just marveling at this tree limb that extends out over the main road that goes down through the middle of town here. This here is what the front of the Mosswood Farm store looks like, or Mosswood Farm Bakehouse. What a great coffee spot. I'm telling you, this has got to be a must-do if you come to town. It's awesome. All right, my friends, all that being said, this was a great stop today. We're going to wrap it up here in Micanopy. We're going to get back on the road. There's still a couple more places I want to stop and look at today while I'm here in the Central Florida area. Let's keep it rolling. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. All right, I'm in a spot now, a little area that's called Island Grove, Florida. And I found a relic. I found something that is awesome, right up my alley, and hopefully yours too. Check out this little grocery store. Look at that. That is freaking awesome. The old Coke sign up there. Check that out. This is awesome. Look at that old Winston cigarette sign. Winston filters. Got a whole bathtub, another Coke sign here. Got some Marlboro. Have a nice day. A Coke cooler. Looks like Uncle Jesse and the boys used to hang out here a little bit. Looking at those jugs. Look at that. Drink Royal Crown. RC Cola. Got any moon pies here? More Coke signs. 7-Up. I mean, this place is just adorned with cool stuff. Come in. 7-Up. Likes you. Yeah, this is awesome, man. I really, really like this. I'm so glad while I was driving, I just happened to, just barely caught my eye. I was actually right over here in this area, and I looked over here and I saw this little old store, and I told my wife, I said, hang on, we got to turn around. Look at these old gas pumps here. Shell. I feel like I hit the mother lode today. I love it. This is so rad. All right, this was an awesome little find. Now let's get back on the road and keep moving a little bit further down to the south. See if we can find at least one more thing before we wrap it up today. This has been an awesome day. Thank everyone for hanging out with me here on the back roads of Florida. This has been great. All right, I made it to my final destination today on this little back road trip. Welcome to the orange shop. Fresh orange juice inside, freshly squeezed, but unfortunately, it's closed for the season. So that's a bit of a bummer. But hey, you know what? I still had a great day. I hope you guys enjoyed our little back road look here in Florida, looking at some of the more non-touristy areas. Indeed, it is closed for the season. Thank you all. Look forward to seeing you in the fall. So have to remember that. If I ever come back to this area and I want to go by this orange shop, my mom actually told me about this place, and that's the reason I wanted to end it here. Her and my dad, when they got married, they actually made their way down through here and did kind of this Central Florida thing like I did today, way back before I come along in the late 60s. But all that being said, I hope you did enjoy the video today. I had a great time. Got to see some really cool places, I think. And that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, friends, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Y'all have a blessed day.